Hey, what's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Young back with you. Welcome back to Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is episode number 74. I'm going to start off with a question. What the fuck, Matt Maruca? So, you may or may not have heard, but I sent a little blurb out about it in my newsletter. Raw Optics, which was founded by Matt Maruca, who was a protege of Dr. Jack Cruz, who they had a falling out with, but his company has created what is known as what they call Blue Sync. Blue Sync. So what it is, it's basically he's marketing it as a kind of like a healthy sunglasses. Say there's no healthy sunglasses. Okay, anything that blocks the natural spectrum of sunlight is bad. Okay. Um, our first circadian mismatch was close. Okay. Um, but especially the eye is the most important thing for the health. Okay. It's the most important muscle, organ, whatever you want to refer to the eye as. But it's the most important thing for health because once that sunlight comes in, it gives the energy, it gives the information, it gives the information, and then from that information, we can derive energy through quantum biologic processes. But unfortunately, if you block it, it's very, very hard to do. So this will probably be the next Unknown Death Causers Sunglasses Part 3 episode as well. Well, Sunglasses Part 3. It'll probably be episode 6. Still working on the orthodontics, the jaw, the tongue, all that stuff. So that episode will be coming soon. But pretty much, I wanted to read something from another mitochondriac, Nathan Siles, who went into pretty good depth questioning the Blue Sync technology. But basically, he says that he's working with Dr. Alexander Wunsch, who Dr. Cruz has mentioned. A lot of his slides in the Nourish Vermont talks came from Alexander Wunsch, and I've listened to many talks by him as well. He's very educated and knows a lot about light, but this to me is just a pure money grab. Um, I mean, I understand that it is very, as a mitochondriac and as somebody who's teaching people about the dangers of sunglasses and about the benefits of the sun. And when I go to places like I went to spring break earlier this month in Florida. Yesterday, went to the baseball game. Saw way too many fucking kids with goddamn blue blockers or goddamn sunglasses on. Um, yeah, it gets frustrating, and you want to tell everybody about the detriments of these things, but you know that talking to these people is going to be for most of them, it's going to be like talking to a brick wall. Um, because obviously sunglasses lower dopamine and they do all kinds of things to um, basically control your mind and you can't think right. So, um, yeah, I am no longer an affiliate of Raw Optics, so Raw Optics can go fuck themselves. Um, I took all the links off my website and whatnot that I could find. But let's get into these treatise or expose by Nathan Siles, and I'll add my 2 cents when it comes up. But yeah, so let's see here. So Matt Maruca from Raw Optics says UV light is harmful, especially in excess. Bon Charge started selling sunglasses. So Bon Charge is another blue blocking company. Started selling sunglasses that block UV light in 2017, and Raw Optics starts selling sunglasses that block UV light in 2025. Why are these health brands we trusted telling us to create an unbalanced spectrum of light? Isn't that how we got into trouble with unbalanced light induced diseases in the first place? Sunlight sets the circadian rhythm perfectly. It doesn't need a boost or to be filtered. Remember, never ever miss the sunrise. The full spectrum truth about blue sync sunglasses. So why filtering sunlight is a biological mistake. Matt Maruca's recent podcast on Tracy Dew's show Hydrate and release of his new Blue Sync Raw Optics sunglasses may leave listeners with the impression that sunglasses are safe or even beneficial for optimizing health and circadian biology. But this interpretation ignores critical context, omits essential photobiology, and fails to account for the biologic cost of filtering nature's full spectrum light. Let's begin with what Matt got right. He lives in the tropics at 9 degrees latitude in Bali and has Irish Fitzpatrick skin type 1 or 2 skin with blue eyes, a uniquely sun-sensitive constitution that leaves him vulnerable to excessive tropical ultraviolet UV exposure if he bakes in the strong midday sun for several hours. He is biologically mismatched for this environment, which is why he often wears sunglasses and applies mineral-based sunscreen when he cannot find shade or wear a hat, as he himself states. Yes, very strong and excessive UV radiation can pose risks to fair-skinned, light-eyed, light-haired individuals living in equatorial environments or in high albedo settings like snowfields or open water near the equator. And yes, light is a powerful environmental force that must be respected, not abused. But how does this apply to the overwhelming majority of humans on the planet today? Okay, because most humans do not live on the equator or in the tropics. It does not. Matt's personal biology, environment, and preferences do not apply to 95% of the global population. Let me explain. Most people have skin and eyes adapted to sun-rich conditions. Only 10% of humans have blue eyes. Only 15% have a skin patrick of 1 or 2. And over 85% of humans live outside of the tropics. In fact, 80% of the world resides at altitudes below 1,500 feet, where UV light is already weaker, not to mention that 85 to 95% of the world are ultraviolet light deficient. But we'll get to that shortly. These numbers matter because they reveal the deep mismatch between what Matt's products solves for and what the biologic needs of the average human being. Question for Matt Maruca. Matt, it seems like you're trying to create a solution for a problem that doesn't exist in today's world. You've mentioned Dr. Alexander Wunsch, stating that extreme UV light is harmful. However, what exactly is the context of extreme UV? Dr. Wunsch, who lives in Germany at the 50th latitude and a peak UVI of 7 during the summer, is not exposed to excessive UV. In fact, he experiences 0 UVB for about 4 months every year. B, you frequently refer to studies about the harmful effects of UV, but can you share the specific scientific studies that support the idea of blocking solar UV light is a good idea and applicable for the average person in 2025? That was one of the things, that's one of the things that the medical and doctors and people that say UV light is bad, they use a study that showed UV light was bad, but it was not UV light from the sun. It was actually an artificial UV light. So, go figure. C, Alexander has exceptional knowledge in the field of photoendocrinology and chemotherapy, or chromotherapy. Has shared many experiments showing the benefits of full spectrum sunlight exposure, including UV light wavelengths without eye protection for improving health outcomes. Given that 95% of the global population is UV deficient today in 2025, is not misinterpreting his work to advocate for the regular use of UV blocking sunglasses, especially when most humans alive today are not receiving the natural light that they need. D, you've acknowledged that some UV exposure is necessary, but then you also say UV is harmful, especially in excess. Can you provide specific context on what dose you consider constitutes harmful exposure? Is it 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours at a UV index of 8, 10, or 12? Also, does this differ for various populations, such as Blacks, Hispanics, Northern Irish people, given their natural melanin levels? Okay, so it does matter for those populations. So Blacks and really dark people, people from Africa, people from India, um, they have a Fitzpatrick skin type of 5 or 6. So they typically need 5 to 6 times more sun exposure and more UV than the typical white person who is a Fitzpatrick skin type 1 or 2. So typically they're going to make 5 to 6 times less vitamin D than the typical white person. So the most I have ever seen the D-Minder app telling me how much I'm making per minute, I believe was 231, and that was in the middle of June. So, yeah. All right. E, you've stated that UVA causes the highest production of or before we get to that, uh, the thing about melanin. So melanin is created by UVB light. When you're in UVA light, it's going to take the melanin already in your skin and it's going to basically push it around. So whatever is exposed to the sun, it's going to move the melanin. So say your chest is exposed, it's going to move melanin from your back and your shoulders more to your chest to protect you. And then when UVB comes out, it makes more melanin. And that melanin, it absorbs 99% of all UV radiation. So it is our natural sunscreen. Okay. It is our superpower. So you can't listen to a word I'm saying, you can't talk, you can't see without melanin. All 5 senses are melanin required. Okay. All right. E, you've stated that UVA causes the highest production of reactive oxygen species, contributing to cellular aging and damage. However, many experts, including renowned mitochondrial biologist Nick Lane, have challenged the idea that ROS are the primary cause of aging. In fact, insufficient ROS can impair the cell's ability to maintain essential processes and reduce its resilience, leading to diminished repair and regeneration capabilities. Given this, why would it make sense for someone to wear UV blocking sunglasses during short periods of natural sunlight exposure, especially when ROS are crucial for cellular function and regeneration? Okay. F, your blue sync sunglasses are designed to optimize the circadian system while filtering UVA and UVB and HEVL, which is high energy visible light, to protect the body from oxidative damage. However, if the body is already struggling with light deficiency, wouldn't filtering UV further disrupt the natural circadian rhythm and impede regeneration, especially when most of the world is suffering from a lack of full spectrum light? And the answer is yes, because we regenerate, okay, 24-hour cycle, circadian biology, our circadian rhythm, okay? So we recycle our photoreceptors and during the light and dark cycles. So different time periods require different sources of light. So we require the light, the bright days during the day, and we require dark nights during the night. And that is basically the main setters of our circadian biology. Okay, so most humans will get bright nights and dark days. So either they'll block it with sunglasses, or they'll just completely hide from the sun. And they'll block it with sunscreen. They'll block it with all the sun cosmetics and whatnot. So I just released the episode 72, which is the preview episode for my sun cosmetics webinar, my circadian biology part 3 webinar. Okay. Yeah. So when you block that light, you're not getting the signals to for the body to do what it needs to do. Um, finally, G. Finally, Matt, do you really think that blocking essential UV light when most people today are light deprived, you're addressing the core issue? Or are you creating a solution for a problem that in reality doesn't exist for the vast majority of people? What percentage of the global population is actually at risk from excessive UV? Okay. Sorry about that. My son asked me a question. Um, so what percentage of the global population is actually at risk from excessive UV exposure? So if you're watching this, if you're watching it, I am out in my outdoor office. It is April 17th as I am recording this, 2025. And let's see. UV was up to 9. We got a maximum 9 today of UV in Columbus, Ohio. Now it's down to 8. I've been out for an hour and a half. I've made 13.6 thousand, or 13.63 thousand IU of vitamin D. I'm making 156 per minute right now. Um, so obviously, if the average white person just came out and did what I did today, they would be severely burnt. Okay, but that's why I always talk about that solar callus. You've got to build it up, and once you build it up, even somebody who is blue-eyed, blonde-haired, can live in the tropics. Okay, and he's lived there for a while. I remember podcasts where he was um, talking about all this stuff, and you don't need sunglasses, and you don't need sunscreen, and you don't need all this stuff, and something something got to him. So I don't know what it is, but yeah. All right. So we are facing an epidemic of indoor living and overexposure to unbalanced LED light, flicker, the flicker effect, and dirty electricity, driving chronic malillumination and a global deficiency of full spectrum light that you can only get from the sun. Your blue sync sunglasses only exacerbate the situation by imposing harmful biologic trade-offs, filtering out the ultraviolet UV and short wavelength blue light from nature's balanced full spectrum. This interference with natural light reaching the eyes is a disaster for ocular health, as well as for brain function, neurotransmitter production, and hormonal health. Okay? Remember, the only thing that can truly regulate dopamine production in the body is full spectrum sun. Okay? And especially UVA light. Full spectrum light is perhaps the most powerful nutrient on planet Earth. Don't mess with its perfectly designed composition. The human eye contains several non-visual photoreceptors that directly regulate circadian rhythm, hormone production, and neurochemical balance. Melanopsin, the most well-known, which is our blue light antenna, peaks at 479 nanometers and is most sensitive during sunrise and sunset, and Raw Optics have designed their new blue sync lenses with this in mind. But it's not alone. Okay. Neuropsin, OPN5.
Duration 1 hour 30 minutes. 440 calories.
Neuropsin, OPN5, found in the cornea and retina of the human eye. It's activated by UVA light. It plays an essential role in melatonin regulation, dopamine production, and synchronizing peripheral clocks in the skin, brain, and gut. And also melatonin production as well. Remember, melatonin production is during the day, during UV light. Blocking this signal, as blue sync sunglasses do, decouples the eye, brain, skin communication access that nature evolved to operate as a unified photoreceptive system, while impairing dopamine signaling production from the aromatic amino acids, tyrosine, and leaving the eye and brain with what you will soon see is a critical lighting deficiency and significant biologic consequence. The POMC, propio, propiomelanocortin, POMC, propiomelanocortin gene in the retina is also UV and short blue light dependent. Hence, does not get activated in the eye when you are wearing these raw optic blue sync sunglasses outdoors or regular sunglasses. When properly stimulated, it cleaves into several vital biochemicals, including alpha MSH. So you've got melanogenesis from that, and you've got DNA repair from that. Beta endorphin, which is a natural opioid, the mood booster, pain relief as well. Okay, remember the sun, 43% of it is infrared A light, and depending on the season where you are on the globe, 52 to 55 or 56% is in the red spectrum. Okay, so red light heals. Okay, it's what your body needs. Red light and UV light, most important spectrums. Melanocortins give you metabolic regulation and mitochondrial signaling. These molecules are paramount for the optimal eye function and not optional. They are fundamental to your ability to adapt to light, regulate your mood, recover from stress, and protect against inflammation and disease. Okay, so when I was wearing sunglasses and wearing them all the time, and I thought I would look so cool because I had the aviators like Tom Cruise, except they were brown. I just thought I looked so cool. But during that time, my sunglasses time, that's when I got depression. That's when I got high anxiety. That's when I started thinking about suicide on a weekly basis. So you need sunlight to basically regulate your body. Okay? Fuck these sunglasses. You need the 300 to 460. Okay. You need the 300 to 460 nanometers of ultraviolet, purple, and short-wave blue light from the full spectrum found outdoors to activate these things in the propiomelanocortin pathway, POMC. If you wear these blue sync sunglasses or any sunglasses that block this range, you miss out on all these benefits and deactivate a big portion of the body's photochemical healing response in the eye. Okay, and remember the eye, when it is naked, no contacts either, no eyeglasses either, when the eye is naked and it gets the sun, it tells you the eye gets the signal how much UV is there. It's going to tell the skin how much melanin do I need to make to protect you from the sun. Okay, you wear sunglasses, that signal is going to be blocked. Okay, so you have these white people going down spring break. Okay, they put sunscreen on, they put sunglasses on, they come back the exact same color. Okay, big problem. So the message is clear. Wearing sunglasses blocks the activation of POMC in the eye, and using UV filtering sunscreen does the same on the skin. When you then expose your skin to sunlight, your body cannot produce the necessary cleavage products from POMC, leading to collateral effects that manifest as diseases. It's a straightforward concept, yet it's often overlooked. So nature is never wrong. Man is wrong all the time. So man is always trying to corrupt you and get your money. Okay? The sun will save you money in the long run. Allowing and possibly amplifying 479 nanometers while blocking UV, purple, and shortwave blue light from the natural full spectrum found outdoors is not a smart trade-off. Maruca's new lenses are said to allow 479 to 480 nanometers of light to pass through while blocking everything with a shorter wavelength below that range. This is problematic. Yes, 479 is the peak melanopsin activation wavelength, but it was never meant to act alone. So circadian biology evolved to respond to gradients and ratios across the spectrum, not isolated wavelengths, which is why remember the UV study, they're using fake UV light and in a certain spectrum that they used to say that UV light is bad, which it is not. So when you filter the sun, you send a distorted signal to the brain akin to trying to replicate a symphony by playing just one note louder. That's not hormetic or adaptive. It's biologically incoherent. Just as problematic, these sunglasses block UVA light. which is 314 to 400 nanometers, which is responsible for whoop, sorry, my D minder just went off. It says I made enough for today. We started here. No, it says I got 600 left. So, all right. Just as problematic, these sunglasses block UVA light, 315 to 400 nanometers, which is responsible for releasing nitric oxide from the eyes, mitochondria, and also in the skin. Infrared light has been shown to stimulate the release of some nitric oxide, but by far, UVA has the most profound effect on this vital molecule's production from endothelial nitric oxide synthetase, or eNOS for short, in the eye. Nitric oxide increases blood flow, supports oxygenation, and reduces intraocular pressure. Does this sound like something you want to reduce in your eye during the day by wearing these blue sync lenses, or any sunglasses for that matter? Not a chance. Blocking UVA by wearing these sunglasses outdoors will reduce nitric oxide production in the brain and eye, impairing ocular health, increasing disease risk like glaucoma and acute macular degeneration, also cataracts, which is one of the big diseases associated with sunglass wearers, and hinder your detoxification in the eye. Floaters. Structured water and UV light, a hidden dimension. Biology 101. 99 out of every 100 molecules in the body are water molecules. That's a staggering amount, and the eye is no exception. This means that interactions between environmental light and the water on our biological surfaces sets the stage for everything, the biophysics and the biochemistry of life itself. Thanks to the groundbreaking work of my good friend, Dr. Gerald Pollack, we now know that water doesn't just exist in three phases. It transforms into a fourth, gel-like structured phase when exposed to full spectrum light, especially the infrared and ultraviolet wavelengths. This structured water becomes an electrically charged biologic battery, a capacitor that fuels cellular function and biochemical reactions. So that is the exclusion zone of water, also known as the coherent domain of water. In the eye, a profoundly light-dependent, energy-intensive organ, this structuring process is absolutely vital. It maintains mitochondrial health, energy production, and keeps the tissue electrically alive and resilient to disease. When this light-water interaction is disrupted, everything downstream begins to falter. Enter blue sync sunglasses, or again, any sunglasses, or eyeglasses, or contacts. By blocking ultraviolet light, they eliminate half of this structuring story. They may allow the near infrared, which functions to set up some structuring, but they prevent UV wavelengths from reaching the hydrophilic water-based surfaces of the eye, the cornea, the lens, and the retina, where they're needed the most. This means the water battery inside your eye never fully charges. You've just capped the energetic potential of your ocular system, impairing your mitochondrial function and paving the way for long-term degenerative ocular and brain disease. And remember, the eye health ties directly to brain health. So as your eye health fades, then you know that your brain health is fading. And then with your brain, obviously, everything starts fading when that goes down. Dr. Pollack's lab showed that 270 nanometers of ultraviolet light builds structured water, known as the exclusion zone of water, on hydrophilic surfaces like every single cell membrane on every single cell in both eyes. This easy water enhances charge separation, supports mitochondrial redox signaling, and boosts the electrical conductivity of the ocular tissue. Block UV light, and you lose this critical water-based power supply. This is the invisible damage that comes with Blue Sync's design, and you won't hear this from raw optics. What they won't tell you is that by filtering out UV, they're stripping your biology of one of the most powerful energy sources. No warnings, no nuance, just marketing, touting, circadian benefits, and sleek design with hidden biological consequences. So if you go to their website and see the Blue Sync sales page, it's all about benefits. They're not talking about any of this stuff that Nathan is mentioning here, and I am telling you as well. Okay. So there's always a consequence of doing something. I mean, I always say the birthing process gives you the best clue ever. A baby comes out butt fucking naked. No clothes, no shoes, no sunglasses, no Apple Watch, no AirPods, no phone on their fucking head. Okay? Nothing. Completely naked. And then we fuck it up. Okay? The moment they come out, they cut the umbilical cord, which you're not supposed to do. You keep that on for a while. Okay? And then they inject the hepatitis B vaccine, and it just goes downhill from there. The RF problem. Metal frames as antennas. So RF radar frequency or radio frequency. So radio EMF. To make matters worse, Raw Optics sells metal framed blue sync sunglasses. From a radio frequency engineering standpoint, this is a very basic error they would realize if they had health in mind instead of fashion. Metal in contact with the skin acts as an antenna, concentrating EMFs on sensitive cranial nerves and eye tissues. This is why I stopped wearing my wedding ring. This is why I used to wear a silver chain around my neck. I put like one of those stupid ass EMF pendants, thinking I was doing myself good. But yeah, so I stopped wearing all metal on my body once I found this out. So I highly recommend you do as well. Metal in contact with the skin acts as an antenna, concentrating EMFs on sensitive cranial nerves and eye tissues. It's well documented that localized exposure to RF radiation can alter calcium signaling, disrupt mitochondrial function, increase permeability of the blood-brain barrier, electrically disrupt neuronal signaling, and dehydrate cells in the face by lowering mitochondrial water production. You can clearly watch this being scientifically measured in a popular YouTube video showing dramatic increases in RF EMF radiation at the metal frame glasses. You'd be self-sabotaging to put these on your face once you understand the consequences occurring at the speed of light. Okay? And that is why I 95% of the time I use the blue blockers from Midwestern Light Therapy, improvementwarriorfitness.com/Midwestern. Code is Improvement Warrior, all lowercase. Okay. How can a product claim to support circadian biology while acting as a conduit for non-native EMF to the brain? What about Matt's claims on the benefits of these blue sync sunglasses? Maruca mentioned he felt better in the morning wearing the glasses and they helped him with jet lag, but no biomarker testing was provided or data comparison to the same flight without wearing the blue sync sunglasses. No HRV improvements, no melatonin, leptin, or dopamine panel, no long-term trial comparing sunrise exposure versus filtered light. Nothing but a subjective report. Just a marketer trying to market to you to sell his bullshit. So, as Jack Cruz always says, marketing is legalized lying. So, where is the data that these lenses enhance circadian biology and neuroendocrinology better than not filtering the full spectrum of light outdoors? It doesn't exist. What does exist are data showing the risks of filtering sunlight, seasonal affective disorder from UV, purple, and blue light deficiency, myopia from reduced retinal dopamine and understimulation of the retina, leptin resistance from disrupted leptin melanocortin and oxa or orexa vasopressin circadian inputs to the hypothalamus, depression, anxiety, and addiction from lack of beta endorphins, release due to underactivation of propiomelanocortin, POMC, and UV-induced neurotransmitter balance. Okay. So I talk about that in part 2 of the unknown death causers for sunglasses with Michael Jackson and George Michael and all the rock stars, all the movie stars. They usually turn to something to fulfill what the sun is supposed to give us. Okay? Drugs, weed, painkillers, all that stuff. Okay? And if it isn't taken care of, then a lot of them commit suicide, or a lot of people commit suicide. So, assuming Raw Optics comes out with beneficial data to back up their claims on circadian benefits, we've already established that these sunglasses may be useful for 5% or less of the global population. Given the probability of these unique individuals, very specific lifestyle choices, and unique personal contexts of living in a deeply mismatched environment to their biology and engaging in chronic, high intensity, reflected sunlight environments. But these are being marketed to everyone by Raw Optics, regardless of their vitamin D deficiency, UV light deficiency. If you have insufficient UV exposure on your skin, you absolutely have insufficient vitamin D levels below 60 nanograms per milliliter, a threshold clinically recognized by integrative medical doctors and biophysical health experts globally as necessary and needed for good immune regulation, mitochondrial function, hormone production, chronic disease prevention, and also immune function. That means 95% of the people who will buy these blue sync sunglasses are already biologically impaired by insufficient UV light. And when they wear these sunglasses outdoors, they will exacerbate their poor health with an additional poor health choice. A large portion of the target market for blue sync are teenagers in the United States who are already suffering from skyrocketing mental health issues such as addiction, okay, addiction to their phones, anxiety, depression, and seasonal affective disorder. So my thought of the day this morning, there was a kid yesterday, he got off the bus staring at his phone, then got in his mom's car staring at his phone, and this morning he got out of the car staring at his phone and walked on the bus staring at his phone. He this is the elementary bus, so he can't be older than a fifth grader. So absolute, I mean, we're killing our kids. Wearing these sunglasses outdoors during the day, as Raw Optics recommends, will only further deprive their brains of naturally produced opioids like beta endorphin, normally stimulated by UV, violet, and short wavelength blue light entering the eye and brain directly. Here's the kicker. Over 44 million teenagers live in the United States alone, with 9 million diagnosed with clinical addiction. I would say it's a lot higher. Their brains are already starving for full spectrum light. Given these sunglasses would only deepen their addiction, reward tracks via dopamine and serotonin deficiency and beta endorphin starvation. These blue sync sunglasses are the wrong tool for the wrong population at the wrong time. Okay. Remember, the human brain fully develops between the ages of 25 to 28, and a lot of these kids are not going to have a fully developed brain. We're going to have basically kids in adult bodies, and it's going to basically cause this country to just go further into the hole. Human eyes and brains need less blocking the sun, not more. There are 128 million blacks and Hispanics in North America, Europe, and the UK who already have inbuilt UV light protection in their eyes and are deficient in vitamin D. Why would this gigantic population benefit from wearing these UV blocking sunglasses? Okay. When Blue Blocks, now called Bond Charge, began selling blue light blocking sunglasses in 2017, they compromised their ethical standing by shifting away from products that generally supported light-based health. Now, Raw Optics is following a similar path. I still believe Matt Maruca generally wants good outcomes for his customers and means well. And while he continues to offer reasonably effective blue blocking glasses, yet way overpriced, I looked at the website and they're now like $40 or $50 more than when I originally bought mine. This move with Blue Sync sunglasses is absolutely a step in the wrong direction, one that risks undermining the trust and health of the first ethos that built his brand in the first place. Biologic consequences of wearing blue zinc sunglasses to filter sunlight. Wearing these sunglasses outdoors results in blocked UV, purple, shortwave, blue light, which gives you a loss of neuropsin activation and POMC-derived hormone benefits, reduced dopamine, serotonin, and thus melatonin production in the brain, reduced executive function, muscle fiber function, happiness, and increased mood disorders and swings. No beta endorphin or alpha MSH in the eye gives you reduced UV tolerance, so you will burn more. Skin protection, solar callus, you cannot build it. Mood regulation, down. Weakened eyes, mitochondrial function, and reduced nitric oxide release. Weakened zeta potential, blood flow. Weakened zeta potential, electrical voltage on the red blood cells in the eye. Poor oxygenation, and eye vascular function, blood flow. No exclusion zone, structured biologic water enhancement due to blocked UV, which means lowered mitochondrial efficiency and brain performance. Disrupted hormonal entrainment, suboptimal melatonin, leptin, and cortisol timing. Distorted circadian cues, incomplete spectrum equals incomplete signaling equals misaligned clocks. Okay, that is basically cell chaos. Okay, cell chaos was the episode number 2. And all cell chaos, when your cells can't communicate, it creates inflammation. Inflammation, all diseases come from that. Radio frequency antenna risk from metal frames, increased EMF exposure to the brain and the retina. Big pharma blueprint, treating one problem, sun sensitivity, while causing 10 others and making strong sun sensitivity worse. All right, final word. Nature makes no mistakes. Light evolved to signal biology across a full spectrum from UV to infrared through intricate photoreceptor networks in the eye, skin, and brain. Filtering this light should only ever be done in extreme situations, not as a baseline health tool. Raw Optics built its reputation by helping people block artificial light, but this product filters the very light we evolved with without disclosing the biological cost. That's not science, that's marketing. And now that you know the trade-offs, you can choose more wisely. Don't buy these stupid ass sunglasses. And just stop supporting Raw Optics. Unless you live on a glacier, sail in the equator daily, or have red hair, blue eyes, and have no access to shade in a tropical environment during solar noon, keep your sunglasses off and let the full spectrum heal you. Okay? You can also just use a hat. It's easy to look back and find much more evidence to support humans lacking adequate sunlight blockage than humans who covered their eyes with bones, wood, or other materials. How did tribes walk the Andes, the Everests, Canada in the winter without sunglasses and no reported eye issues? Also, sailors for centuries, no sunglasses, going back arguably 10,000 BC and beyond. Fishermen, even now, are all day at the beach in third world equatorial zones and no sunglasses. Did the retina fail then? No. And why does it fail people now? That's why. Sunglasses. None of us are smarter than nature, and neither are any pair of natural light filtering RF amplifying designer sunglasses like Blue Sync. All right. So that's all from Nathan Siles there. I've got to go pick up my daughter, so I'll add a couple things here to end this podcast out. But share this out with anybody who is wearing sunglasses and anybody who is thinking about getting, oh, hopefully nobody's thinking about getting the Blue Sync crap. But otherwise, I'll talk to you later.